Hello and welcome to this edition of the series of education webinars that the Hindu conducts every Saturday. It's at 5 p.m. Today is 26th of July, and our topic today is how to bounce back from career breaks with confidence. Career breaks are becoming far too common these days. People are no more fixed to institutions. They don't serve for decades there, which is what used to be until a few years ago, maybe a decade ago. So there's a lot of churn in the job market, and people do end up taking career breaks for various reasons. They may be looking for some alternative pathways or just taking a break for the sake of taking a break, sort of taking a bird's eye view and say, reevaluate life and priorities and say, well, see where they are going. Maybe some may drift, literally do nothing or try other things, and some may even get bitten by this startup bug. They go out, start things on their own. Some succeed, many fail for various reasons, and they seek to come back, pick up the threads of their career or find alternatives. But when they do that, they do face a lot of challenges. For one, to convince the HR in the new company, in the recruiting company, that they are still valuable, that their skills are up to date, and so on. And in the case of women, that is a whole subset of this issue because they take career breaks primarily, if not primarily, but a lot of reasons, a lot to do with family. They may to take care of children, or they may decide to dedicate a few years to their family and then come back possibly. But the challenges they face, although their issues are different, the challenges they face when they come back are pretty much the same, I would say. And then the whole transition to, you settle down in another company after a break, and then you find a lot of changes. Your own salaries may not have matched up with what you were earning before. They may have reduced, and you would find younger people holding more responsible positions. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of transition that happens. To discuss all this, we have a very interesting panel. We have Sarabjeet Sachar, who has spent time with the Hindu. He is founder and CEO of Aspiration. You may know him from many of the articles he's written about, jobs and careers, and including on career breaks. We have Shourya Chakravarty. He's a CHRO of Aptech. And he will give another perspective. And we have a very special invitee, Gauri Das. She's SVP, Senior Vice President at India Factoring. And she's here to talk sensitively about the issues that women face. When they take a career break, they come back. How do they deal with the situation? We start with Sarabjeet. Sarabjeet, go on. Give us the context, or give us the broader sense of what happens. You are an industry insider.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kalyanam. So in my experience over the last 40 years, I've realized that people do want to get back to work, and it is very natural phases of life that you have your crests and troughs, and you tend to take a break. As you rightly said, Mr. Kalyan Raman, that it could be due to a family reason, especially more so skewed towards women, but a break is a break. And it does get very challenging, more so in terms of perceptions when you want to come back. And that is a very big pain point with most of the professionals, that they feel that they are qualified, they feel they are capable, but at the same time, if it's a break of say 7 to 8 years or 6 years or 5 years, somewhere there is a self-doubt that lurks in, and that syndrome which is there perhaps is due to the lack of preparation to come back. So it's like something like, when you're like during the COVID days, our cars would be parked for, say, for example, 3 months continuously. And we didn't even move our cars, and we were forced with that situation. So when we had to restart the car, we wouldn't just kind of go and ignite the engine and just drive away. We would go and check our engine oil, we would go and check our other things. And even when it's ignition, you would press the accelerator till the time the engine warms up. Now, this part of warming up, preparing, is something which can really get the confidence of the people. This is something which I've experienced with most people when they've taken a break. That lack of confidence is more not because of lack of capability. It is more because of a sense of direction or a framework that how do I get back? And because of the anxiety of coming back, they tend to oversee a lot of things and then start making applications, and then it becomes a vicious circle, because when you're applying without preparation and without applying a thought, just because you want a job and you want to come back, and for whatever reason you may have your responsibilities at home, it backfires because you don't hear from the target employers. So it gets a little vicious cycle. I always tell people that it's something like assuming you're reading a book, and I suppose miss an entire chapter in the book. What will happen? I'll just miss the story. So if I just miss one chapter completely, I'll miss the story. So I tell people to take your career break as this one chapter. It really has a lot of meaning, it has value, it has a lot of experiences. It has so many of your transferable skills that you've developed while you are on a break. So if you can have a narrative which is going to find an alignment and you prepare well, the journey can be excellent. Excellent. Because I find that there is a lot of talent that is available and they are wanting to come back, but only because of these certain factors of that break in their own mind, they are not able to portray their own value proposition effectively to the target employers. So that is the only reason why you find them being on a back foot and then getting into a state of mind which is very, very defeatist, which is not true, because I've coached so many, I've seen so many, and they've got excellent talent. And I'm sure, even Shourya and Gauri, they are from the industry, so they will also, I would like to know from their viewpoint. I've seen so many of them, good, talented people. They are even ready to make an accommodation in terms of, or adjustment in terms of their salary. So if there is a genuine HR process which evaluates skill sets, and if there is a genuine HR team which really genuinely spends time without kind of just having a checklist that, okay, if somebody is jobless, let's not meet them, it can make a lot of difference. So I think there is a lot of scope, and I find sometimes there is gold in that. It's only a matter of they preparing themselves a little in advance, mentally and otherwise, before they enter the job market. Yeah. So over to you, Mr. Kalyaraman. You are muted, Mr. Kalyaraman. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Sorry. So, Gauri, would you like to pick up the threads from what he was saying? He was saying there should be a process in the HR to be able to absorb back those who've taken career breaks. How does it work?
Yeah, thanks, Kalyan. And rightly said by Sarabjeet that this is how the situation is today. Though it has normalized to a certain extent, but still there will be comments like, oh, he's not working or she's not working currently. I don't want to hire someone in my team who is not, who will not hit the road running, because everybody wants a trained person who would be productive on day one. So when the expectation is like this, then there is a mismatch when it comes to career gaps. But still people have started accepting it, more so from women's perspective, because there are diversity goals as well. And definitely, like Sarabjeet said, there is a lot of hidden talent in people who are trying to come back. But at the same time, even men have started taking break, and to a certain extent it has become a general thing. But yes, what I would say from my personal experience as well, because I have taken 2 career breaks for reasons which women have to go for break. And when I tried coming back, it was a fight. It was more so from emotional perspective. Finding my identity became a challenge later when I came back, because the road is still not easy. Yes, there are returnship programs, but still there are so many people who are trying to come back, and there are very few organizations or very few positions which are available for returning. So I would fully agree again with Sarabjeet that it's about not about only the technical perspective, but also the mindset with which we are trying to come back. We have to be very positive about it. First, we have to accept that it is going to take some time, and we have to put in extra effort for this, because there is something which we have missed on, and the pace of technology is so high that if you miss on something, it is very difficult to go back and cover it. So yes, a lot of time and energy would go into upskilling yourself. But if I have to say just one thing that someone should do when they are trying to come back, it's patience and having a positive mindset that I have not lost on my skills or my talent. It's just that I was away for some time. So go with that mindset, because in interviews I have seen people trying to explain it in great detail that this is what happened with my family, and they feel guilty about it. You don't have to feel guilty about taking a break, because it was such a situation. I mean, life happens and it happened with you. You have to take a break. Say, for example, I was interviewing someone recently, a man who took a break for his father's illness. His father met with an accident and he had to take a sabbatical. The only child, that is another reality of today's life, that there are not many people in family. Nuclear families is the norm of the day. So he had to take a break from in banking world again. The stereotype is there. So when he was trying to come back, there were questions were asked, but still he got a job very recently. So it's not that it will not happen, it's just that you have to be very positive. Another example, there's someone who worked for 3 years and then he took a break for preparation of IAS, and he was preparing for IAS exams for 5 years. And when I interviewed him, he was so positive. He said, it's not a loss of 5 years. I have learned so much during this preparation that my knowledge is going to definitely help this role and your organization. So you have not wasted your time. You have actually invested in something, and that's what people are doing when while they are away. They are still being connected because technology is there. But this guy who was preparing for IAS for 5 years and he did not make it, he was not embarrassed about it. He was not feeling guilty about it. Rather, he said, I have added in. So that should be the mindset, and that's what I would say for now.
So thanks, Gauri. Thanks for mentioning that you took career breaks yourself. Maybe we can come back to it. You can elaborate a little bit more, if possible, on your own personal experience. Personal stories are always inspiring. People learn a lot from them. So we will come back, but I would ask Shaurya that. We talked a little bit about not being defensive. Sarabjeet was saying that they are pieces of gold, returnees, and Gauri was talking about the mental aspects. How do you, especially in tech, how much of retraining, upskilling, reskilling has to happen once a career break happens?
See, the way I would look at it is there would be people who would take career breaks for different reasons. Now, taking a career break does not essentially mean that the person has lost touch with his or her field of work or area of interest. The person may have kept himself or herself updated and probably would have found time to upskill as well. So it would really depend from a case to case basis how people need to be evaluated for the specific role. Now, career breaks, they have another aspect to it. It's not just about a voluntary career break. Sometimes career breaks are forced, right? And, when layoffs happen, and that's the reality in today's world. What do? You may not get a job immediately. I would suggest that be absolutely open about it, be honest about it. Yes, there could be an impact in the compensation on your next job, and that's the hard reality of industry. At the end of the day, we are all here to make profits. So be honest, be straightforward, and don't beat around the bush. Another aspect which I would like to mention here is, and I've had experiences around this. A lot of people a few years ago would have left their well-paying jobs to go entrepreneurial, and that may have succeeded or may not have succeeded. But I have had interactions with some people uh, where I have seen a tremendous amount of arrogance in the way you come across. Now, arrogance is something, or an attitude is something which no organization, be it public, private, whatever, would tolerate, right? So you got to be particular about what you are trying to bring to the table, how you present yourself. Since both of my co-panelists had mentioned that confidence is required. Yes, it is required, but overconfidence when you are bouncing back, when you are coming back, is also harmful, and that can go against people wanting to come back. It is very easy to give a reason, and if you give a reason which is not genuine, the people on the other side can immediately make it out. And most probably, most of the people would be going through a headhunter or through references. So you can't be really beating around the bush there. Upskilling is important, but when you hire people with career breaks, I have seen that the results are pretty much on the positive side, not so much on the negative side. That's what I would like to say.
Okay, we'll field a question because it's current. It's what we are discussing. Almaz A, she is asking how to face the question, what is the reason for the career break during the interview? Your HR is going to ask the question. Your reporting manager is going to ask, should the answers be different? What should you tell the HR? What should you tell the reporting manager?
Should I take that?
Yeah, everyone's.
Sure. So this is, as Gauri had said, even Shourya pointed out, that one is that there are two aspects to that. One, what Gauri mentioned is very relevant, that do not over-explain. I'll give you an example. If means whenever I'm coaching, I tell people that if I keep a stick in front of you on the floor and ask you that just make this stick smaller in size without touching it, how would you do it? So we get into a kind of a thinking session, and ultimately I tell them that if you keep a bigger stick next to that stick becomes smaller, relatively speaking. So that small stick which is there is your career break, and the big stick which has been kept next to that are your unique strengths, which let's not forget, because if you focus continuously on the smaller stick, which is what, as Gauri said, if you keep over explaining your career break and there is somewhere guilt that starts coming out or getting reflected, you are bound to be rejected, because it shows somewhere that lack of confidence. At the same time, striking a balance of what Shourya said is that it has to be with an humble approach. Ultimately, it has to be a win-win situation. It's not that the employer is greater than you, but at the same time, you cannot go with an attitude of arrogance, because you are already seen by way of human nature as perception through the network and through the process as, oh, this person is coming back, so perhaps he's a little less valued as compared to somebody who's in a job. This is perception, not reality. So when that is the case, you got to be ensuring that you also come well prepared and have a very humble attitude. At the same time, hold your own in terms of offering value to the employer. I had a lady who was a lawyer who I was coaching, 18, 19 years experience, and because of her mother-in-law's illness, and as Gauri said, staying in a nuclear family, so husband couldn't take leave, so she had to give up a career for about 1.5 years. When she came to us, she said, I want to get back, but somewhere because of the mother-in-law's ill health, she had been so engaged that she had lost touch completely. So first I asked her, when you're saying same question, she asked me, what do I tell in an interview to a hiring manager? I said, tell the truth. Don't hide the gap, but don't spend so much time on only explaining that it was your mother-in-law's health and that is why I could not do this, and that is the reason why I could not do this. Don't start justifying that break in a manner which gets reflected as if you've not done anything. So then your conversation is moving in a direction where the interviewer will also carry it forward accordingly. So you don't know anything what's happening today in say in the legal field in our industry. So then you will get stumped, and that's how you will be again on a back foot. So first is, do not over explain. Be proud about it. Okay, fine, it's life. It happened, as Gauri said. There are crests and troughs in life. It will happen. It's very natural, and we are all We are not only a professional, we are also a mother, a father, a daughter, a sister, a husband, wife, whatever. And we also, at least in India, we are still bonded by some responsibilities, though we are in a nuclear family, perhaps in many cases, but still there is a certain bonding, unlike abroad. So when there is a sense of responsibility, I would say that first, don't over explain. One. Second, use your transferable skills to ensure that if it was empathy which was developed, if it was managing a difficult situation which was developed, if it was adapting to a situation which was developed, these are all very valuable traits. I'm sure we can ask Shourya and Gauri both whether employers would value these along with what you have done as an update to your industry knowledge. So it's not that you just can enter an interview and answer this question. You'll really need to prepare. As I gave you an example of the car, you got to warm up the car, and that warming up is just don't start sending your resume just because you want a job. You got to spend time in studying the industry if it's a legal job. So that's what we did with her. I said, okay, now study. Don't just keep applying. Spend about 15 days completely. We gave her a framework that these are the things that you got to research about the industry that you're targeting or the companies that you're targeting. Do your homework. Slowly, with that network and the framework that was given to her, a confidence level came up. Frankly, it is a confidence. It's basically the confidence and how you present your value proposition to a target employer when you are in an interview situation, which will make you answer this question in a manner that it really reflects your value and at the same time retains your career break as that small stick only. You don't start making it so big and forget about your strengths. So if you are a lawyer, I told her that let's do a SWOT analysis. We did a SWOT analysis. I said all these things she was in the legal and she was handling the IP part of a big company for the brands, and she knew everything about it. I said, so that's so good. If that is unique about you, say that, yes, I did take a break and this was the reason, but at the same time, I'm excited because I've seen this in the job role and that really aligns with my value and aligns with my expertise and skills. The moment you will start showing benefit to the employer, which is true, you're not making it up. Give them some success stories from the past. Give them some success stories even from your home management. If you were mentoring your children, for example, while your mother-in-law was being attended to, that's a great task. It's not easy to maintain your sanity when she was really terminally ill and she had 2 children also. So managing their studies, managing the mother-in-law. So while life happened, accept it. We don't have control over that. But at the same time, now when I'm coming back, I've got all these areas and I'm really excited to add value to you. And that's it. So how to answer the question about the career break? These parameters, you should keep it in mind.
We will stay with this question, Almaz's question. It's the key question of today, I suppose, but I'll just share what Muthu Kumar is saying. He's saying he's on a career break now and he's advising career breaks for those who are having a successful career and those who are not having a very successful career. He's saying, you can de-stress, your health picks up, and you learn so many things about what are the real priorities in life. Should it be health, family, and relationships, or should it be career? So he's saying career breaks are good things, and you should plan for it financially so that you can sort of absorb the loss of salary. But it does good things, he says, to you personally. We'll stay with this question, the key question. Gauri, what would you say? Like from HR perspective, what are you looking for? What did you tell your HR manager?
Yeah, so we are looking for talent in the returnees also. And honestly, sometimes it's easier to get them because there is no notice period and they are readily available to join. So from this side also, because we are looking for talent, we are looking for those skills, we are very happy to have them. But at the same time, yes, there has to be a balance. And what I have also observed and what mistake people do sometimes is they, like I said, over explanation, and then they are not able to give you that confidence that the thing is over and now they are fully available for a full time role. So sometimes there is a iota of doubt in hiring manager's mind or HR manager's mind, and sometimes because of this they lose on the opportunity. But from HR's perspective, I would say we are happy having these people. But yes, there have been instances, and like Sarabjeet mentioned, I would also talk about Kochi's case. And in her case, when she came to me, she had interviewed at 3 4 places, and she said that whenever I mentioned about the reason of the break, the facial expression of an interviewer changed. So sometimes we just read too much into things, because you may not be a NLP expert or non-verbal language expert to understand. But the moment you think that they are not with you when it comes to break, your whole body language will change, and the way you wanted to convey things may not be possible. So don't go into this loop, and try to convince as much possible with say for example, if you were on a career break for child caring responsibilities, you can talk about what arrangements you have made. If you were on a break for health reasons, you can mention. And sometimes I have seen in my network that HR would like to see the documents also, if it was for a medical reason for someone. So giving that confidence to HR is the key here. And also remembering that you don't have to tell them that this has happened, and I may not be very sure about it. Because until you are sure, don't step out, don't look for a job. But once you are sure, give them that confidence, and I think it should not be very difficult.
Very nice. Thanks, Gauri. We have some more comments. Interesting ones. Preeti Takral. Would you suggest if someone takes a break in a career for a longer period of time, do you recommend, is it better to accept a lower role initially just to get back in, or wait for the right opportunity that matches your past experience and perhaps even responsibilities? Who will say? Shourya, would you like to take that?
I would give it a pass because Preet is part of our organization, and I would let Sarabjeet handle that.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, sure. So when it comes to, the most important thing is that when you're coming back and you are wanting to enter the job market once again, it's very important to see what is your purpose, what is your objective in terms of your career first. Uh, I always advise that look at the, don't miss the woods for the trees, is what I would say. Don't look at only the money. Look at the entire job profile and ask yourself this one question, that where will I be 1 year down the line if I accept this job? That should be the first thing. The profile is very, very important. So if you are very clear, to answer that question, you got to be very clear with your own SWOT analysis. You got to ensure that you know what are your areas of strengths and the opportunities that are there, and the areas of improvement. And if the exercise tells you that this job really aligns with you, and if the answer to the question that what will or where will I be or what will I become in 1 year's time as a person, will I really evolve? And if the answer to that is yes, then I think it's worth keeping the salary part open. And if you have to accept maybe a role which is maybe a level lower, but it offers a potential to grow. So it requires a lot of thinking and research to be done before you really arrive at a decision whether it's a good decision to take a step down in terms of the level. But if there is a long term aligned to it, if there is a future direction aligned to it, and if that's how you see yourself growing, worth it. Because as Gauri said, you also bring in value. At the same time, you are also in demand. If you are confident and you are easily available to join, companies might want to welcome you, provided you have a value proposition, obviously. But don't get hell bent about salary. Look at the job profile, how enriching it is, and how would you evolve in the future. If it's going to benefit you and the organization, obviously this money bit which you have taken a slight adjustment, you'll be able to cover it up. Means then you have to really ensure that you got a platform which is great and given your best, and try and ensure that because you've just come back as a new student, for example, you got to prove yourself faster and put in your best, and then you will be able to cover up even for that loss, if that's the fear in somebody's mind, that why should I do it. But there's nothing wrong at all in adjusting your salary, taking up a lower also, maybe a level lower if at all that is the case, if you're not getting something which was your past experience. So I hope I've answered his question to some
Perhaps
extent.
some level of transparency. I mean, I think you should frankly speak to your reporting manager, HR, that you do expect growth in the career. You say that you're coming in at a lower position, lower salary, but you do expect things to improve. I think it's better before you join, you should make that clear. Wouldn't you say so? Okay, we have okay, this is a personal lament. She's saying, why are my LinkedIn applications never getting to the next level? What are they expecting from me after a career break? I have a default resume like everybody else. Maybe that's the reason. It's pretty default. It's like everybody's resume. So what's special? The HR side mindset seems very mysterious. What do you say? She's saying nobody's responding to her LinkedIn applications. I have a standard resume. I took a career break. So what are people thinking? Why am I being rejected?
Shourya, I think you all should give your perspective here. That will be interesting.
See, this is a very typical thing. I too get a lot of LinkedIn messages, but wherever it's genuine and I feel that I need to reply, I reply. If there is an application, I send it to my head of talent acquisition. And internally, as an organization, we have a rule that whether there is a fitment or not, the applicant deserves a response. And we do reply either way, either scheduling an interview or having a discussion, or after reading the resume, we say that, we are sorry, but we don't have any job openings which match your skill set at this current time. Having said that, it is also important that don't just send blind applications over LinkedIn. Sometimes it works. Most of the time, it doesn't work. And that's the hard truth. So find out if you are targeting a particular organization, find out through your own network whether you have any known people who can help you to reach out to either the operational managers or to the HR managers. That way, at least you have, reached the right kind of people. But, to be fair to everybody, I think the amount of messages and applications which come in through LinkedIn, many of them get overlooked, and that's a reality. Also, I would like to say, as Mr. Kalyan said, that, one CV is not, a generic CV doesn't work anymore. You got to tailor your CV for specific organizations and specific roles. And tailor your CV is not, I'm not at all hinting that you should fabricate stuff, but there is a language in which you need to frame the CV. And you also need to prepare like that.
Gauri,
Mr. Kalyan, I'd like to add, but let Gauri speak because I have some interesting example on this. Yes.
Sure.
Yes, so I agree with Shourya because even if you are applying through LinkedIn or Naukri.com, Times Jobs, whatever, the amount of applications that we receive, I would say for one position, we may receive up to 700, 800 applications also. So it is not possible humanly for people to go through, the recruiter to go through all the profiles. And that's where technology comes into picture and people rely on it. And that's why the generic resume thing doesn't work. Shourya rightly mentioned that you have to tailor it, but you don't have to fabricate it because there is an interview, there is a time when you work in the organization, and if there is no match, then somewhere it will come out. So don't try to fabricate, but align it with the requirement of the role. I've seen profiles wherein you don't even understand, and this I'm talking about 15, 20 years of experience also. Looking at the profile, you would not be able to figure out what this person knows, what have been achievements, where can you deploy this person. So this I'm saying even 15, 20 years of experience. Don't make your profile like that. Your profile should speak about what value addition can you make. Your profile should speak about the tangible results that you got during your last tenure before. And sometimes there is too much emphasis on just the last job. But even if it is just for 2 years, people are not talking about what happened before that. So have a complete summary of what went well, how did you add value to organizations, and data and numbers would really be helpful. Be it any role, be it a role like HR also, there are a lot of tangibles that you can talk about. Any role you talk about, there will be numbers, there will be some tangibles that you would be able to talk about. Mention that, and that's how it should be. But expecting a response for every application, you are fooling yourself, because we, like Shourya mentioned, and I am also mentioning, that you may not get a response. But what you can do is, there is a new feature in LinkedIn also, that if you are targeting a particular company, you can set an alert, and whenever they are posting a relevant job, they will know that you are interested. So use tools like this. Reach out to people. I have had many cases where people reached out to me saying that this person is first degree connection for you, and I've seen you in some pictures with this person, can you connect me? I have posted my application in that company. And believe me, it does work, because when it goes from someone, uh, there is an emphasis on it, there is a added value to it. But for that, what do you need to do? That is networking. And that's where we take a back seat. We generally think that we have to come to LinkedIn, or we have to go for networking only when there is a requirement. So if you dig the well when you are already thirsty, it is not going to work. You have to always be ready with this. Networking is something which I have to continuously do. So that's what I would add here.
I
Mr.
would
Kalyan,
just want to. Sorry, Sarabjeet, please.
No, please. Complete it, Shourya.
Okay. To what Gauri said, about networking, many people may see networking not in a positive sense. Now, let me say there's no harm in networking. You are not networking just for the heck of it, or, without any purpose. Networking is to understand what is going on in the market, what is going on in other industries. There are shared learnings from different industries. So if many people think that, why should I go and waste my time there? It's not wasting your time. Attending events or other networking events is beneficial in the long run, and it is a part of today's work life. That's what I would like to add.
Sure, thank you. Mr. Kalyan, can I? So,
Please.
Networking, as Shourya said, Gauri also said, it's very important. We had to do different perspectives. It's like, networking is something like where you go to the ATM and just continue to. So what will happen if you continue to just withdraw? But first you got to deposit and then withdraw. So if you have not deposited anything into a relationship, networking will not work. And if you just go and straight, the biggest mistake most of the people make is just ask for a job in the first instance. So write to somebody on LinkedIn. Nobody has the time. At the same time, why would somebody respond to you if he doesn't see a value proposition for himself or herself or her organization? So when it comes to networking, it has to be done very strategically by first adding a lot of value. And as Shourya also said, it has to be a regular thing. Gauri also mentioned you cannot just do it at that point in time and just suddenly ask for a job. I had a candidate who I was coaching, senior professional again. He had come from abroad and he was wanting to shift from the tire industry into the paint industry. He also came, so he said, I don't have any idea. So I make everybody do a lot of research before you start even networking, because just by sending an application to say a Gauri or a Shourya or just requesting them doesn't get you any result. And as Gauri said, if it goes through somebody, it may get a little more value. But at the same time, to stand on your own 2 feet, you got to act like a business consultant. You got to understand the pain point of what Gauri's organization or Aptech has. If you can do that, then fabulous. So this gentleman who I was coaching, he had come from abroad and he wanted to make a career pivot to the paint industry. I said, fine. Let us do your SWOT. We did all that, etc. I said, now you got to do research on the paint company. Which paint company is this? He said, these are the 3 paint companies. I said, start doing research. What do you mean by research? I said, today research is very easy and LinkedIn is a beautiful platform to do research. you study about the MD of that paint company, study about the people in your same domain leadership. Like he also had about 20 years experience. So what are they saying on their post? What is the company page saying? What are their mission? What are their values? What is the vision? And try and understand what is a pain point if it is getting reflected from that particular company. And I said, if you can decipher that with this research, and I'm giving you a framework, this is all the things that you can do. Talk to people. If you know ex-employees, if you know employees, if you know somebody who knows employees, don't just send an application. Don't tell a person that, Gauri, I know you know this person, so just forward my resume there. That's one part. But a stronger approach is to tell Gauri that, Gauri, you know this person. Can I just talk to that person and understand more about the organization? I always encourage that. So when it comes to networking strategically, so this gentleman, when he was doing the research, incidentally, fortunately, the MD's interview he saw on YouTube, which I encourage people to do. I said, if you're applying for a company, do thorough research like a good student would do before an exam. Don't just start networking or just floating your CVs around. Your dependence on resume will really go down. It will be minimal. You don't need it. So he heard the MD saying in an interview, and it was coming from the MD, so it was being very passionate. It came from the heart that today we are looking for a leader who will train my sales team in terms of app that they had launched. It was about 3 years back, and that app was launched by the paint company, where they would take the app to the consumer's house. That means if you want to get your house painted, that app was relatively new at that point in time, 3.5 years back. So the consumer, the potential consumer for the paint company could envisage or imagine or visualize how their house would look if it was painted in the various shades of color that the paint company offered. And they had so many multicolors, and this was supposedly to be a very strategic move as to you educate the consumer. Now, this is something which the MD mentioned in an interview. He came to me, I said, now you got this, write directly to the MD that, sir, I have seen your interview. And because he had had exposure to this kind of an app when he was abroad, I said, make that as your alignment. That I believe you're looking for people with this exposure. I've got so many years experience and I've been in leadership. And when it comes to this app, which you're just launching, and because at that point in time, the company had just launched the app, for them, it was everything, right? So you strike it when it's hot. Tell the person, the MD forwarded his profile to the business head. He landed up with the interview without any application. It was only this part and a customized letter, cover letter, which we call pitch letter. He designed it, sent it to him, got a call, got the job. A career pivot happened because of the N amount of hours he had put in researching before he approached. So if you're going to just approach somebody and say, just because you know somebody, talk to them, where is the value proposition? That's an approach which will have a minimal impact. If you really want to stand out, there are ways and means of doing it in terms of professionally and strategically. If I show Gauri or even Shourya as a candidate that, Aptech is currently requiring this and I understand for this role, these are areas that you need. And if I've done enough research on Aptech and I've spoken to maybe few people, and which I call informational interviews, and sat down with people instead of telling somebody, using my own referral network and doing informational interviews, not just telling that, okay, Aptech has got a job, Mr. Shourya, can I apply? And I would be very interested. That's not going to work. But if I tell him that I've really kind of understood that these are the areas in this role, I'm sure Shourya or Gauri will be able to take a positive look at the profile and say, okay, let us give him a chance or give her a chance because the person has done enough research, like wearing the hat of a business consultant. What would you do as a business consultant when you're approaching a client, potential client? Same thing you got to do with your potential employers. If you can do that, if you can prove to me that you bring into the table an understanding of my pain and you are aligning your skills with my pain, I'm all ears for you. I will give you a hearing. And that is what is required. Once you get a hearing, then it's up to you to present your skills, which is transferable, hard skills, soft skills, everything. But people don't get this chance only because they make these mistakes. So I hope I'm able to give some perspective to this gentleman as to why he's not getting a response from LinkedIn. And one important thing, your LinkedIn headline is the only thing that any recruiter today, because as Gauri also said that employers are like inundated with applications and they have to stop at a particular, it's not humanly possible. And if it goes into the AI machine tool, it will have its own limitation. Fine. So if you still want to retain the human element, recruiters and in the teams of talent acquisitions are looking at LinkedIn profiles, and when they're scrolling past, they only look at the headline. So if you really apply your mind and have a LinkedIn profile headline, which is genuine and which is targeting your target industry and has those kind of words in that, the recruiter or the employer will be motivated to click that and open and read your entire profile. That's how you start engaging. And once that happens, then obviously the next step is to ensure that you show your value proposition. So just an application is a complete no-no. Complete no-no means I never tell anybody, and people get great results. It only may be a matter of working hard if you have a framework. So if you have a framework, if you have a structure to do this, present your value proposition strongly, you are bound to get a response from the employer. That's what I would like to say, Mr. Kalyan.
There is a positive story. Gautam Karat, he wants to share. He says, my friend, after completing his PhD, took a 5-year break due to his health issues. I suppose he got sick doing his PhD. I suppose that can be, that's perfectly rational, it seems. Anyway, but meanwhile, he learned new pedagogy and completed a Google certified educator course and updated himself with new technology in education. He's joined as assistant professor now.
Fabulous.
Yes. Damodaran, he says career setbacks often result from failures or an inability to meet work productivity expectations. So they were not good enough, so they dropped out, or they had to drop out. They were fired. So how can career transition programs support individuals in building resilience during such challenges? Somebody got fired because they weren't performing, so how do they even come back? And then the career break is an added issue, right? How do we repair a resume? How do we repair a career setback? Not just a break.
Gauri or Shourya, would you all like to take it up from the industry perspective as to how would you look at this career transition programs if you all have been having?
Gauri?
Yeah, you can start and then I will add.
Okay. I try to see whether Gauri would go first, but okay. See, what happens is it's not just only, say, you've been asked to leave a company. It's sometimes not just because you're not performing up to the results. Companies usually give you time, they coach you, they guide you on how you need to perform. Even after that, you are not performing. It is not the ability to perform, but it's the attitude to not perform. And most of the time, companies ask people to leave who do not mold their attitude with the changing times. You know, if you have been used to working in a particular way, and with the changing times, you do not change that, you will be changed. Career transition programs can only help those people who are open to accepting change, open to accepting the realities of the present world. For example, the Gen Zs who are coming into the work, they do not see work as work, they see it as a situationship. And that is the hard reality. You can explain to them to a larger extent that what needs to be done within an organization. But say it is the weekend or it is beyond office hours, and probably they will not reply to you. Whereas we have all through been available for our managers or the organization at whatever time and all that. Times have changed, and especially after COVID hit us, we've realized the importance of empathy in the real sense of the term. So, career transitions, coaching can only help people. See, at the end of the day, what does a coach do? The coach awakens your inner self so that you can find answers to your own questions. The coach facilitates. A coach does not give you ready solutions. I mean, Sarabjeet is a very, very reputed coach. He would be able to reply this to this much better. But coaching doesn't mean, and programs, you attend a program doesn't mean that you've changed. It has to come from within you. You know, your energies need to align to what the future demands from you.
Yes, I fully agree. And I remember as Shourya was speaking, I remember a case of a coachee who came to me because my manager is not good. So it happened. I tried, coaching, and then he changed the job. Again, next place came back and said, my manager does not care about me. He is not empathetic. And so it's a mindset and it's a vicious circle where you fall and then you realize, oh, the whole world is there to eat me, or the whole world is, you play victim in your mind and you feel that nobody is good and you create stories. And I've seen this happens at workplaces, that people think that I'm not being supported, but there is a lot of work that you also need to do, invest in yourself. There is gone are the days when people will give you a manual and things will go according to that, because every day you have a lot of things to do at work. There will be buddy, there will be manager, but they have their own things to do, and then they are going to train you. And that's why people want to hire employees who are up to the mark in terms of how they are going ahead. And at the same time, checking this at the time of interview is also important, because if you are just okay to work and you join an organization where people are running, there is going to be a mismatch. So this is on both sides. Employee needs to check this, prospective employee and HR and line manager also tell them the situation, that okay, this is how you have to perform here, this is what we would be able to do. And that's where the questions like, how do you celebrate success, how do you manage failures, these questions when you ask in interview, you get to know about culture, you get to know whether there is alignment or not. So all I'm saying is taking a step back, understanding it at the time of interview. From HR's perspective, also tell them, like I said, the gap between running and walking. And once you are there, put in 100% of your efforts. So that is one piece of it. There will be situations where companies will call it that this is a performance gap, but it may not be a performance gap. It may be some other reason, alignment did not happen, or organization was going through restructuring and they just put it or blame it on people that you did not perform, and that's why the pink slip is coming your way. But you should not think from that angle, because that may lead to kind of losing your confidence. You thinking that, oh, I couldn't perform, I would never be able to do that. So analyze your situation well. We are the best judges when it comes to how we are doing things. But yes, regular connect with manager is important. So if you see that they are just putting it on you, you be free of this, that I was not able to perform. You go ahead, and that's where, like Shourya said, career transition program would help a lot, because you can put in efforts. There was just some misalignment which a career coach can help you with. In the first situation, you have to help yourself. No coach can help you if you have a mindset of victim.
Okay. Am I on? Okay, so we do have more questions coming up. I would like to tell whoever is on StreamYard to keep posting questions. We welcome questions, and the best questions will get free online access to the digital edition of the Hindu, including all the archives. So it's worth going for. Please keep posting questions. Gauri, we will ask you the special question for the day. What would you tell women who've taken career breaks for family? What would you tell them?
Yeah, so when it comes to specifically women, I have had a lot of failure stories also, wherein we put in 100% efforts or more than that, bring them into workforce, but the results are not as encouraging as they should be. Reason being, they are, the whole family is dependent on them, and they feel without me, home will not run. They are unable to communicate that I need to step out and you need to support me for this. They are unable to communicate that there has to be a division of responsibilities. And talking from my personal experiences, I have done it all. I did not communicate. There was a thought process always that home is to be managed by me, because this is how I had seen my mom doing it. So there was no conversation, and it became so overwhelming that at some point of time there was a time for third break for me. But thankfully help arrived from one of my bosses, and I realized that I have to change my ways. So the first thing I would tell women is, you have to take charge of your life. Nobody else is going to do it. There will be returnship program, there will be companies providing, offering help, there is coaching available, your family may help you, but you have to take charge. And some of the tools that you can utilize when you come back and you have to manage things is, say, food becomes one of the things, or taking care of whatever responsibility you had, whether it is taking care of somebody who's not well or a child. You have to schedule it well, you have to communicate, and sometimes you have to fight for it also. If even if it requires fighting, go ahead and do it. It's your career, it's your life, and you are the, like it is said, that you are CEO, captain and chief of your life. You have to take charge there. So that is one side of it, because family becomes a big impediment to a certain extent when things are not communicated well. When you don't tell them and you keep this in your mind that they should help me, they should understand that now I'm stepping out and I would not be able to be available, you have to tell them, communicate it very, very properly. The other part of it is organization. Again, here you have to set boundaries. You don't have to go into that guilt, because I did it, so I would openly share this, that I used to think when I came back after second break that I got this opportunity and I must give 150%, and at the same time my daughter should be excelling in everything. I should be available for all her sports day or whatever she is participating into, and she must participate into everything. So it is not going to happen. You have to accept this. You are not a superhuman, and you don't have to be. That is second part of it. Third part of it, like I was saying, there has to be a boundary at work as well. Communicate this beforehand. It should not happen that in interview you say, oh, I would be there till 1 a.m. in every morning, every night, and then suddenly you start saying, no, after 6 o'clock I have to go. Don't do this, because the trust would be lost and ultimately you would not be able to manage it. So enter into a situation only whatever you can manage, with some kind of extension. I mean, you can get flexibility, but don't expect that everything is going to be coming to you on a platter. That is not going to happen. So three things I would advise. First is take charge of your life. Second is communicate with your family and communicate at work also. Don't think that you are going to be a superhuman, but also don't think that you would not be able to manage it. Like if you look at my trajectory, I'm saying 2 breaks, but despite that I am here where I should have been. So yeah, life will take its course with the right direction.
Thanks so much. That was interesting, personal, heartfelt. We have a question from Suresh Krishnan. It's a important issue. When someone has superannuated from a company but possesses strong professional experience and is keen to re-enter the mainstream industry, how is their application typically viewed by the interview panelists? While we understand consultancy and advisory roles are often available, what is the general perspective regarding their candidacy for core industry positions? Do retired people get the same jobs, or they just trying to help out? How does HR, how do reporting managers look at them?
Yeah, it's very interesting, Mr. Kalyan. It varies from organization to organization. What you're really looking at. If you're looking at wisdom, you would want to have senior people into your organization, but who have a track record of delivering on outcomes. And that is where the match happens, especially in and how well networked are you? So these are some of the factors which people see which organizations see, not people, sorry. Organizations see when you look at superannuated people. Secondly, it is not to say that superannuated people are completely useless. They have their own valid experiences, relevant experiences, which can be used. Now, whether the model for engagement is a full-time, part-time, advisory, consulting, that is different. It is worked out from an organizational perspective. But yes, what change I am seeing, especially in the next 2 to 3 years, a lot of people with practical wisdom and the ability to have delivered on target, on outcomes, or on who have a track record of performance, will be preferred by the industry because of the sudden shift in the generational approach to work. And by that, I mean the Gen Z coming in. And so there'll be a sort of bridge, if I were to put it that way.
Maybe we need a separate webinar to deal with Gen Z. How to deal with Gen Z? From what Shourya has been insisting on it, I don't know what others think, but perhaps it's worth looking at as a separate topic in and of itself. I didn't know there was such a big cultural gap in terms of work expectations, approach to work. Maybe there is. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir. Sarabjeet, you were saying something. You're muted.
I just wanted to answer. One of the areas that experienced people, superannuated people can look at is the startups. Today, what is happening? There are a lot of startups that are coming up. And the startups would welcome this kind of a wisdom if the individual is a little open to how they engage. As Shourya rightly put it, there's no perfect answer. It will vary from organization to organization. But the startups are today quite open to engaging with such senior leaders, because they might not be able to afford somebody from another organization in terms of attracting them. At the same time, if you get somebody who's as experienced, a startup could be a good option. That is what I feel.
Interesting. Superannuated people can find roles in startups, the other end of the spectrum. Okay, thanks for that interesting perspective. There were some comments, but we did deal with career switching. I suppose some of career breaks happen because of people trying to switch careers, right? You were saying, Sarabjeet was quoting an example. I suppose that is one area which we have not perhaps dealt with as much, maybe in another webinar. Certainly Gen Z, I suppose, again. But thanks everybody for sharing your wonderful perspectives. It was a very interesting discussion. I hope it was useful for our audience as well. Thanks, Gauri. Thanks, Shourya. Thanks, Sarabjeet. We will meet in another webinar next Saturday with another topic in education. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.